The letter that shouldn't exist. It arrived on a cold winter morning, in a plain white envelope with no return address. No fingerprints, no DNA, no stamp. Inside was a single sheet of paper, typed, not handwritten, and on it, 10 words that would reopen a 23-year-old murder case. You buried her in the wrong place. Check the well. The letter was addressed to the Maple County Sheriff's Department. The problem? The case it referenced, the 1999 murder of 17-year-old Emily Carter, had been closed for over 2 decades. The killer had confessed. He'd served his sentence. The world had moved on. Until now. But what investigators found when they checked the well would unravel everything they thought they knew and expose a truth darker than anyone could imagine. Emily Carter was a high school senior in the quiet town of Oak Ridge, Minnesota. On the night of September 14th, 1999, she was last seen leaving her friend's birthday party around 10:15 p.m. She never made it home. Her car was found abandoned on a dirt road 2 miles away. The driver's door open, headlights still on, and her purse inside. A week later, her body was discovered in the woods, strangled, partially buried beneath leaves. Her boyfriend, Ryan Peters, was arrested after police found his fingerprints on her car door and his DNA under her nails. Ryan confessed during a late-night interrogation, saying he lost control during an argument. He was sentenced to 25 years in prison, but from the day he was convicted, he insisted he didn't kill her. For 23 years, no one believed him. Fast forward to February 2022. The Maple County Sheriff's Office receives that anonymous letter. At first, detectives thought it was a prank. Cold cases attract tips all the time, most of them useless. But this one stood out. The letter included a single clue only the killer would know: a small gold bracelet that Emily had been wearing the night she died, something never released to the public. The writer claimed, "It's still with her where you didn't look." Detective Laura Bennett, a 12-year veteran of the department, couldn't shake the feeling that this letter wasn't random. She petitioned to reopen the case. Her first stop, the original crime scene. The old file was thin, just a few photos, some grainy black and white evidence shots, and Ryan Peters' taped confession. Laura re-watched the interrogation footage. Ryan's voice cracked. He was young, scared. When asked where he buried the body, he hesitated before whispering, I don't remember. It sounded like guilt. But to Laura, it also sounded like confusion. Back then, the investigation was rushed. DNA testing was limited. The community wanted closure. But now technology had changed. Laura ordered a new search of the area described in the letter, the same forest clearing where Emily's body was found in 1999. 3 weeks later, a team used ground-penetrating radar near the original burial site. 15 yards away, beneath layers of overgrowth, they discovered something strange: a collapsed stone structure. It was an old, sealed-off water well. When they opened it, the smell hit first: damp earth and decay. Inside, investigators found bones. Human bones. DNA confirmed it wasn't just anyone. It was Emily Carter. The remains in the grave from 1999, the ones used to convict Ryan, weren't hers. The discovery shook everything. The first autopsy report from 1999 identified the body using dental records, but those records were incomplete. Turns out, the victim in that shallow grave wasn't Emily. It was another missing woman, Sophie Lang, who disappeared in 1998. The real Emily had been under their feet all along. And that meant one horrifying thing. Ryan Peters had confessed to killing the wrong person. Detective Bennett started digging deeper. The old coroner who handled both cases had died years ago. But through archive reports, she found something chilling. The same investigator's name appeared on both cases: Detective Mark Fallon. Fallon had retired in 2004 and moved to Arizona. Laura requested his old case files and found dozens of missing person reports that were closed prematurely, all with similar notes. Case concluded. Remains recovered. But in several, the remains were never properly identified. It looked like Fallon had been burying more than just cases. When Laura re-examined Ryan's confession, something clicked. During the 1999 interrogation, Fallon had been the lead officer, and his tactics were questionable. Hours without food or a lawyer, repeated threats, emotional pressure. Ryan broke down and confessed to something he didn't remember doing. Fallon had gotten his conviction, but not the killer. The anonymous letter writer clearly knew this, which raised another question. Who wrote it? Someone close enough to know the truth and scared enough to hide their identity. Lab techs examined the letter again. The paper was old, the ink slightly faded, suggesting it had been typed on an actual typewriter. When they dusted it for prints, they found none. But under UV light, a faint water stain appeared in the shape of a fingerprint. Partial, but enough to match a database. It came back to Evelyn Pierce, Mark Fallon's former assistant, who had vanished in 2003. Her disappearance had never been solved. So how did her fingerprint end up on a letter mailed in 2022? Detective Bennett got a warrant to search Fallon's old home in Arizona. In the attic, behind boxes of old police memorabilia, they found a metal lockbox. Inside were dozens of envelopes, identical to the one that arrived at the station, each labeled with a year, a location, and a name. Every envelope contained clippings of missing person cases from the 1990s. At the very bottom of the box was a typewriter ribbon. Tests confirmed it matched the ink from the anonymous letter. Fallon had been trying to send out confessions through the mail years after retiring. The kicker? He had died 2 months before the letter arrived. Someone else mailed it. DNA from the envelope flap revealed a final shock. It wasn't Fallon's. It wasn't Evelyn Pierce's. It was Ryan Peters' mother. When confronted, she broke down. She'd found the letters among Fallon's possessions after attending his estate sale. She mailed one anonymously, hoping to clear her son's name, not realizing it would uncover something much bigger. The rest of the letters were handed over to investigators. In total, they reopened 9 unsolved cases. Ryan was exonerated after 23 years behind bars. To this day, police don't know why Fallon did it. Was he covering up his own crimes? Planting false evidence for promotions? Or protecting someone else entirely? The truth may have been buried with him. But one thing's for certain. A single anonymous letter exposed decades of deception, freed an innocent man, and gave closure to families who thought their loved ones were lost forever. Still, one question remains unanswered. Thought balloon if Fallon was the one who buried Emily Carter, then who buried Sophie Lang.